The year was 2004, and my pill-popping shrink had misdiagnosed me with bipolar disorder 2. First, she prescribed me lithium, up to 14,000 milligrams of lithium. That's a toxic dose, so no surprise my body went into shock. After that, I was given a medication cocktail of 9 different medications.
This was my life. Madness management.
It didn't turn out too well. I called my best friend at the time and told her that I was going to check into a hotel and never leave. How was I going to do that? Well, here's a question. Why would anyone prescribe a suicidal person sleeping pills? My friend asked if I could drive and then told me to drive to her apartment. She saved my life that day. I was admitted into Cedars-Sinai and transferred to Aurora State Hospital. All I can remember from those 2 weeks of my stay there is giving half my grilled cheese sandwich to my friend Chris.
And I remember the smoke breaks. The nurses would bribe us with cigarettes. 1 cigarette for eating, 2 for bathing.
Mental institutions are a lot like jail, only with mind-numbing amounts of medication. Fast forward 9 years, nearly a decade. I had been refusing to take medication. I had self-medicated with street drugs. And then I moved cross country to be closer to family who kept a close eye on me. I quickly became delusional. Within 1 year, I had tried to run away about a dozen times, taking off in the middle of the night with my backpack and my kitty cat on a bus to anywhere. The cops were becoming acquainted with me on a first-name basis. At one point, I began hitchhiking. But it wasn't until I hitched a ride to a fitness facility where I wandered in saying I was the Archangel Michael that it really got serious. My sister had me 302'd. I spent the next 2 weeks in a lockdown facility. My mind floated between thinking I was the Buddha, Archangel Michael, and the Antichrist, all the while spitting my pills out in the bathroom. That was a conflicting time. The next hospitalization wouldn't be so kind.
Ironically, we watched this in the formidable fortress of Torrance State Hospital. I was sent there by the court from the Allegheny County Jail, and just to prove how messed up being in jail is, the guard told me I was going home. That was before I got packed up into a van for the long ride to Torrance.
I remember taking one look at the women in there, slumped over on their chairs, numbed out of their minds with medication. I asked what was the fastest anyone had ever gotten out of Torrance. 3 months, I was told. I made it out in 43 days. Now, Torrance is a forensics mental institution, so we were all criminals as well as mental patients. One of my friends, I later learned, stabbed her dad to death. My best friend in there was a schizophrenic with bulimia so severe that she had dentures. This was no joke. This was constant surveillance with barbed wire fencing.
I had been charged with 3 misdemeanors: resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and simple assault. I spent 3 months on the mental floor of the jail before I got transferred to the state hospital. In jail, I refused to come out of my cell at all, not to shower, socialize, or receive visitors. I went on a hunger strike for 3 months. By the time I left for the hospital, I had lost 50 pounds and was told by the guard that I smelled like a horse.
This hospital was no joke. This time, I had to take the situation seriously. I wasn't going to be released without changing my behavior. So, I started eating, showering, socializing, and yes, taking my meds. Turns out there's a medication that my sister calls the miracle pill. It's called Zyprexa, and it's an antipsychotic. I didn't start taking it voluntarily. The first dose was in jail before I got transferred. The entire brute squad of guards came to my cell door, blasted me with pepper spray, dragged me out of my cell, threw me in the shower, cut my clothes off, threw me in a new cell, naked and freezing, tossed me down on the bed, and shot me in the rear. After that, I started taking my nightly pill. The whole floor was on lockdown because of me, and I felt bad. It suddenly occurred to me that I should really make it my goal to get out of jail. And once I was shipped off to Torrance, I made that happen. I was a model inmate. I did everything right. I even started taking visitors and making phone calls. My sister, to this day, credits jail for my recovery. I don't. There is nothing humanizing about jail. It's the most degrading and disturbing period of my life. After I was transferred back from the hospital, I spent another 2 months in general population, for a total of 6 months in jail over charges that were later dismissed. Upon being admitted, I remember dancing around the holding cell, out of my mind. There was a gigantic TV with a sign that said, "Do not touch the TV." So I turned it off 3 times. I was also paranoid about cameras and cell phones. And the jail is covered in cameras. I learned all kinds of things in jail, including how to trade food, smoke tea bags, make paper speakers, and needless to say, how to royally piss off the guards. I was a menace, mainly to myself. Jail is super great at defeating your ego. They break you down. It has taken years to build back up my self-esteem. Because what they show you in TV shows is nothing like real life. Once in jail, you're guilty until proven innocent. Even though I lost so much time in jail and hospitals, I consider myself lucky. I found just the right combination of medications and dosages to eventually become a normal person, whatever that means.
While in jail, I signed up for classes through the HOPE program. I called it jail sorority because every day a group of us girls would leave our cells to go to meetings every day. We did religious meetings, yoga, and classes on things like trauma.
I was evicted while I was in jail, so I was homeless when I got out. Initially, I was placed in a house with 5 other male ex-cons. It wasn't an ideal situation. I spent every day walking down to the local HOPE office, using their free computers to search online for jobs and places to move. Within a month, I was in temporary housing at a renovated hotel, and I got a part-time job. Within a year, I had my own apartment again and was working full-time. The HOPE program helped me give my life back when I needed the most help. You can imagine my joy when they asked me to give a speech at their award ceremony that year. I was a success story. What I learned the most in jail was patience. I learned how to live in ambiguity because while in jail, you are told nothing about when you're being released, what the status of your case is, or what the next step is. HOPE, I was told, is a dangerous thing in jail. But I had survived 6 months of the worst ordeal of my life and had overcome it. So if you're a person with a criminal background that includes jail time, I'm here to tell you that life gets better If you're free now, don't give up to the stigma or cower to the degrading blows to your self-esteem. If I can make it out there, anyone can.
Open that I couldn't figure out how to get open because I didn't know which door to knock on.
I feel like, once I'm released, I can use the aftercare program to still, follow up with everything and take advantage of it to still be able to become a better person once I'm released.
We really appreciate everything. I seen, you see a lot, man. I see everybody that appreciates it.
The Foundation of Hope as a whole, just a complete blessing.
It's been 2 years since my release. I have a great job, a wonderful place to live, my self-esteem is back, and I have adopted the world's friskiest cat named Zeus. My lowest low brought me to being homeless in jail. That doesn't have to happen to you. If you or anyone you know is struggling with mental illness, don't hesitate to reach out to find help. There are many resources to find the help you need. I found my miracle, and so can you.
1 in 4 people in the United States is diagnosed with a mental disorder. There is no shame in this. It's not your fault. There is a better way. Finding a good doctor is difficult, but it can be done. Once you find one, take the medication. It can save your life. It can give you your life back. There's a silver lining, but you've got to work for it, and I firmly believe in therapy. My therapist is so awesome that it was her idea that I do this YouTube channel. There is hope.
How much of my life has been destroyed because of mental illness? How many relationships have I destroyed? How many opportunities wasted? How much potential lost? How many bridges have I burned? The loss feels staggering. The weight of it heavy on my consciousness. But I finally reached out, and so can you. Just reach out, grab a hold, and watch the miracle unfold.